So if you've been on my channel, if you're one of my 50 subscribers, uh, you know, you don't generally see me with a violin. But I needed to try and get myself to learn this as an instrument. I felt like, I think it would give me a better understanding of just learning and teaching music. So, so then I did the unthinkable and went and bought myself a violin. So this one is a Stentor Student 2 violin. Okay, this one I got it not because anybody recommended it to me, but there were just very good reviews for it online. It fit my budget, which it's pretty expensive for my budget, but it is a budget violin actually. It's a beginner violin. Anything cheaper than the so it cost me around I think 18,000 Indian rupees. Uh, but you ain't gonna get any instrument cheaper that's going to serve the purpose of learning, and you'll struggle so much. And if you don't have a good instrument, you could even just give up on it, and you'll keep blaming yourself when it's actually the instrument that's the problem. So finally, I got this one, and so when I first got the violin, I took the bow and I started like trying to make some noise on the violin and produce some sound, play some notes. But to my surprise, it doesn't play. So I'm sure, like all the violin guys are laughing at me right now. But to get your bow to kind of like make sound on the violin, you actually need to put rosin on your bow. So that was so I got this on the 29th of July. It's today is the 10th of August. So roughly 10 days, 10, 11 days. But I didn't like, I've not really been trying to play it. I did a little bit, of course, like, but not too much. Um, so that was step number one, putting rosin on the bow. Finally, I could make some sound. And then the next thing that surprised me was tuning the instrument. Okay, so I went ahead and I used a tuner, and the moment like you barely kind of turn it, like the pitch changes drastically. So unlike a guitar where you can easily turn the tuning peg like for a quarter of a turn and expect to like to just go up, not even go up like a semitone. But over here, like just a little turn could like move the pitch drastically. So when you do get a violin, try and get one that has these micro tuners and adjusters, like for the violin. So with these, like you can fine tune it. If you try to just do it with the pegs, it's going to be crazy. So once I got the instrument in tune, uh, then the next most difficult thing was like figuring out how am I going to hold the violin. And initially, because I was just like kind of doing the bow on the open strings, I was trying it without the shoulder rest. And like any instrument, even the violin has this different schools of thought. So there are some people who feel you should play with a shoulder support, and there are other people who say that you shouldn't, because all the great legendary violin players historically have not used a shoulder support. But here's my 2 cents. The thing is, like, these things take time to kind of, there has to be somebody who thought of the violin, the shoulder support. And now that it is there, it is kind of changing the way people play the violin. So I don't look at it as a bad thing. If it is something that can make sure that you don't injure yourself, something that makes holding the violin easy, uh, I would kind of go for it. But then you have these like and this is with all instruments, you have these aficionados of the instrument, who will tell you no, you can't do that, that's not meant to be that played that way. But even if you look at the Carnatic violin playing, which is from the southern part of India, they kind of hold the violin with the headstock kind of pointing down, and I don't know if they put it on the crown, but it's a very different way in which they hold it, and they play really well. So I'm not telling you to play that way, but it's just that, different people would do things differently. So I tried it without the shoulder support for several days, and I decided let me still get the shoulder support, and it's a mosquito, and let me still get the shoulder support and try and see how it feels. So finally, I got a shoulder support, and even with the shoulder support, I think getting to kind of hold the violin is going to be a long-term process. So I saw a lot of people, they do this and then they go and touch the other shoulder, and this is like not very comfortable for me. What should be the case, that shoulder should be relaxed, and you shouldn't really be putting too much pressure. I think I may try a different support or just work at this over the next maybe 6 months to a year. But this holding of the violin, I don't think it's going to come easy. I don't think it's an easy thing to accomplish. So once I got through with that, then the next stage is bow, and what they say is that you need to kind of loosen the bow when you put it away, and you can then tighten it as you are getting ready to play. I'm not sure how tight it's supposed to be, but I'm assuming it's supposed to be just a bit taut. So then the holding of the bow, I think I got it. I think some of you guys who played violin could correct me, but I think this feels quite relaxed. And the first thing I did was to learn just to play some open strings. And the open strings on the violin are not very easy to play. So when you play a string, you have to try and avoid touching any of the other strings. So I am kind of able to do that, and then we should be able to shift to another string. And you should watch a video that's available online. A few different people do the same video, where they talk about how your hand should be like a triangle, and then which opens into a square, and then the hand kind of becomes completely straight. For me, because of course I'm not tall, like really tall, but I'm 6, so I'm 6 feet. So for me, I don't think my hand will become straight. I think I can go from one end of the bow to the other end of the bow without my hand actually becoming completely straight. I don't think I can show you this in a video, but that's the case. Okay, anyway, so then the next thing, once I could change the strings. And the other thing is the G string, that's the 4th string on the violin. You may want to avoid it initially, so initially don't don't try to do all the strings. Just do the second string and the first string and the third string. Like, I think that's good enough. Maybe I'll do the fourth string later on, because the thing with the fourth string is that when you do play the fourth string, like, your elbow will be high and you're using your shoulder to bring the elbow up, and that may cause a little bit of discomfort. Remember, all of these things, if you're playing any instrument, just take time. Take time to understand the instrument, how you sit at the instrument, how you sit with the instrument, how you hold it, if you spend a lot of time with that, then later on the learning becomes quite a bit faster. So here's what I've been able to do with the playing. So I tried the greatest violin piece ever written, which is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So I can play that in this short period of 10 days. So twinkle, twinkle, little star. Okay, and then how one wonder. Okay, that's pretty. It's a bit different to the guitar. One, because of course you don't have the frets, but the violin is tuned up in fifths, unlike the guitar, which is tuned up in fourths. So when you move from one string to another, I want to say that, like, that the violin makes a bit more sense, like, because I could do the same fingering on two different strings and play like a major scale, which is not really the case on the guitar. On the guitar, you'll have to change a bit, so, but not on the violin, so that's a good thing. Other than that, what else I can tell you from my first 10 days of playing, or trying to play? I don't even want to use the word play. Trying to play the violin. Violin's not a very easy instrument. I was very wrong in assuming that since I play guitar, I could just pick this up and just be able to play it. Even though I can kind of like play like a scale, but just getting the right intonation for the notes is quite challenging. Being able to keep the violin up, being able to bow properly, all of these things, like, I think they take time. The other thing is, like, if you do get the violin, I noticed that this bridge, this saddle that they have for the violin is movable. Now, what that means is, like, on the guitar, the saddle is fixed. You don't have a movable saddle. So what this means is, like, if I move it back and forth, the intonation of the instrument is going to change. So my first question was, how do I know, like, this is in the right place? Then I watched a video where they were talking about these inner lines of the violin. Like, the violin has the inner cut marks over there on the violin. Those are supposed to align with your saddle. So I noticed that mine was kind of a little bit off. So I just kind of pulled it into place, and it still doesn't sit properly, but I don't want to, like, kind of mess with it just in case, like, I end up breaking this or damaging it. So a fantastic instrument if you're trying to learn it, and for all of you who can actually already play it, yeah, it's a wonderful instrument that you've learned to play. Not easy at all. Okay, so I'll see you guys maybe in another week, or maybe at the end of the month, and give you another feedback of where I am with this. If you have any, if you are learning the instrument, like and you have any suggestions, feedback, if you play, if you teach, like if you have any suggestions, feedback for me, uh, more than happy to listen to you. Take care. Bye bye.